Welcome, everybody. It's your boy, the Versace Stoner, with another episode of VSW. What is up, everybody? It's your boy, the Versace Stoner, alongside here with Moderate Chew.
Yo, what is good? Moderate Chew is back, the man of many nicknames. I'm a little tired right now, so I won't go through them, but I'm mostly here to go over WrestleMania Backlash, so I'm thrilled to get right into it.
Hell yeah. You know, WrestleMania Backlash is the next pay-per-view after WrestleMania. You know, they're taking that WrestleMania name with them, I think, to get a little hype. You know, it sounds better. It sounds more personal. It sounds maybe like a continuation of Mania. I hope we don't see this all year around. I think it'll get weird if we start to see WrestleMania Summerslam. But, you know, for this Backlash, it might be okay. But let's just dive right into this card, shall we?
Agreed with what you just said, but yeah, let's get right into it. The first match we'll cover is the WWE Champion Bobby Lashley with MVP versus Drew McIntyre versus Braun Strowman.
So another triple threat championship match.
I would honestly say Bobby Lashley has this wrapped up. Drew's been chasing the belt for way too long now. They gotta get him away from the title picture. It looks like they're giving Jinder Mahal a big push. Who knows, maybe Jinder interferes in the match and will cost Drew the match, possibly.
You know, that would be actually a really smart move, I think, for both a returning Jinder and to get Drew away from the title would be to start a feud between those two. Right now, I'm very satisfied with Lashley as the champion. With MVP by his side, I think it's just bringing in this new era of WWE. I like it. It reminds me a little bit of, you know, Ruthless Aggression, a little bit of Attitude Era. It reminds me a little bit of all the eras, actually. But I think Bobby Lashley is setting a really nice painting here of what SummerSlam could look like. You know, he's been pushed aside for many years, I feel, in this game. You know, he's come close, but no cigar. You know, yeah, he took some time off. He left. He went to the UFC. But when he came back, you know, he just hasn't been in the limelight much. He had that horrible, terrible storyline, in my opinion, with Lana and all of that. And I think that really, like, kind of took away from his character. But, you know, he bounced back so strong. And when he captured the title, you know, right now he's one of, you know, the greatest things in the WWE going on.
Absolutely, and I would say with Lashley, he's a very good example of someone that came in, they had a rough start, but he's like the definition of bouncing back. Like, he bounced back in a really hard way. I don't think anybody would expect that he would enter WrestleMania as champion this year.
I mean, if you looked at, you know, that storyline that he was in with Lana, and you looked at how he played that whole angle, I don't think anybody thought him to be anywhere right now except maybe like AEW or another company. I think people were thinking he was going to walk. You know, they were embarrassed for him. They were embarrassed for, you know, Rusev, now Miro. They were embarrassed even for Lana. You know, I think in this day and age, these kind of storylines are a little bit embarrassing where, you know, in the Attitude Era, people just glorified it. They ate it up. They loved it. Now it's just kind of embarrassing, you know, people cheating. Is it true? Obviously not. We know that it's not. It just kind of becomes this, you know, bad storyline. And that's what happened. And it's spiraled affected, you know, for weeks on end. I felt like that storyline dragged forever. But, you know, in this title match, you also have another person that has gotten, in my opinion, the short end of the stick. That's Braun Strowman. I mean, they've given him everything, but I mean, he was Monster in the Bank. He won World's Greatest Royal Rumble.
He was Universal Champion over on SmackDown.
For like, what, a day or so? A little bit.
It wasn't exactly a very memorable run. I mean, from his title run, all people really remember is like the feud with The Fiend.
Yeah, and I mean, the feud with The Fiend was really just to set up Roman, right?
Oh, absolutely. For Roman to come back as a heel and then take the strap.
Take the strap. So, I mean, really, he was just another middleman just to make Roman look good, make The Fiend look good. And, I mean, honestly, in my opinion, Braun Strowman deserves better. If this was 1980s and early 90s, he would be in a very different role right now. He's a big man. Big men were, prized possessions in wrestling before. Now it's all about athleticism, quickness, agility, your in-ring ability. That's great and all, but part of wrestling is big men. And if you have one like Braun, if you have one, like these guys, you need to use them properly. He could be a monster heel, he could be a monster face, but you got to make it that way. You can't put him in comedy after comedy. He did comedy with KO. He's done other comedy matches, even that thing with the boxer.
Oh, yeah.
That wasn't, the most realistic thing going on. So, I mean, is there a chance that Braun could end up with the title? Yeah, there is. He could take it away in this. He's overdue a little bit.
I believe it. There could be a continuation of...
There could.
Bobby Lashley and Braun, and they get Drew away from the title picture. He just feuds
get Drew away and then have Braun facing him and have Jinder versing him. I mean, like, again, Backlash is going to set up for what? Money in the Bank, possibly, and then we got SummerSlam? I always forget how they do it because they seem to be bouncing the pay-per-views around every year a little bit. But I know we have a few until August. The next big one is going to be SummerSlam. We should have Money in the Bank in between that. In June, and I don't know what we get in July,
I'm honestly going to go with Lashley to take this. It looks like WWE really wants Bob to enter SummerSlam as champion.
I would think so. I mean, and also I'm going to go with him as well. And going into SummerSlam, I would say a dream match would be, everybody talking, would be, the return of a Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley. Forget about the Roman issue. Let's put the two UFC fighters. This has been a dream match for fans since, it could have ever happened. And we've never seen it. And that's something that could happen in the title.
Facts.
And that would be, big business for SummerSlam. Lesnar is a big drawer. He's big business. Let's move on with this card, though, shall we?
Absolutely. The next match we'll cover Bianca Bel Air versus Bayley.
This is a pretty straightforward title match. Fans of both. Bayley held it down in that pandemic, in my opinion, a little bit. She was a great heel champion.
I would say that heel turn really saved her career.
It did. She got very stale with all the hugs and trees and all that bullshit.
Talk about a character transformation.
And she came back fast, and, she feuded with the right people. But Bianca Bel Air, let's face it, she's not losing anything right now. She has way too much momentum. She's way too good of a wrestler. Yeah, Bayley is good, but, Bianca Bel Air is best in the world right now as far as women in WWE.
Yeah, if Bianca were to lose this one, it really would be a case of all for nothing.
It would be, honestly, in my opinion, it would be sad in the day Kofi lost his title to Lesnar in just a matter of seconds. Why have her have the run just to lose it back to Bayley and to have Bayley back with Sasha or whatever's going on with them? You know what I'm saying? You're just going backwards and in circles. The era is Bianca Bel Air right now, and I think that's going to be the future of that women's on that show. Plus, it's Bianca Bel Air. She has it all. She has the athleticism. She has the charisma. In my opinion, she should have been on the title of the new WWE game. I understand they have to go with the older champions because that's when it was made. But, that's the one problem with 2K games. I don't know if you ever noticed. They're always a season behind.
Oh, yeah. I've definitely noticed that.
And if they were smart, the sports games will give you roster updates and stuff. They really don't in 2K, and if they were smart, they would, make 2K like a GTA 5 game. Just give us one good working version, and every year give us a new roster. Make a lot more sense. But anyways, enough of that. I'm going off the sidetrack. I think Bianca Belair is going to take this match. I think, she has to. She beat Sasha. She got to beat her,
I got the same prediction. It looks like we're in for a very lengthy Bianca run.
We are. I mean, she has some people to go through, and I don't think she's going to lose it until maybe, somebody's going to return, whether it be Sasha, but I'm even thinking the other one that just went out on pregnancy there.
Becky?
Got Becky. She's due to come back. And then eventually, the Southern Belle there. What's her name?
Lacey Evans.
Lacey Evans. I mean, she in my opinion, was set for a title run at some point. They kind of dropped the ball on her. I think if she came back as a straight heel, I think she could take that title away from Belair, and it would be fine. Especially if you give it a couple of months. But, until then, right now, I don't think there's anybody that's going to touch Bianca Belair.
Definitely. Next match, Rhea Ripley versus Asuka versus Charlotte Flair for the Raw Women's Championship.
I mean, I'm going to tell you this. In a perfect world, it would be Rhea Ripley. She's top. In a WWE world, anything can happen. We could see Flair capturing the title once again. Anything can happen, especially when there's a Flair involved.
Oh yeah, we know all about that. I mean, at this point, she's gonna have like 28 world title runs.
Exactly. She's in a league of her own. I'm actually a huge Flair fan. I mean, I don't stand any wrestlers in WWE or AEW. I only actually stand indie guys. I really like them the best, but I have my favorites in WWE as far as, technical styles and what I like about wrestlers. And, I think she's got it all, really.
Very good wrestler, total package. I mean, in a way, she has her dad's gimmick, but it's not like a total ripoff.
Well, no, I mean, she has her dad's heritage. She does almost a similar shit, but she's made her name for herself. It's not just, using daddy's name. She's had some very notable matches. She's had some great matches. She's won some great matches. She did a nice NXT stuff. She's made a name for herself in WWE. If she wasn't a Flair, maybe she wouldn't have gone as far as she did, as quickly as she did, but she would have still got to the same place. I mean, like I said, in a perfect world, Rhea Ripley retains this title if she's hot. But I could also see WWE giving it to Flair. Asuka, I don't think so. I think she's there just to fuck shit up and be out. She was very dominant, in NXT, and she kind of fell off when she made it to the main roster. She not taking nothing away from her, but she shouldn't have been in a tag team when she first came in. She should have been that singles superstar that she was in NXT with the, the fair and the undefeatedness. It would have made much more sense.
I'm going to go with Flair taking this, and then I can see Becky Lynch returning, and Becky and Flair have the obvious history, so that feud already writes itself.
It does. And, Flair and Ripley have the history, so that's why, you do have a valid point there. I have to say either it's going to be Ripley retaining or Flair's going to snatch this title so we get a bigger, hyper, either Money in the Bank or SummerSlam match with a returning female. And like you said, I mean, yeah, Lacey Evans is due to come back, but I think it's going to be, Becky Lynch coming back first.
That pop is going to be crazy when she comes back.
I mean, we could also see a return at some point. I mean, of Ronda Rousey, too.
Oh, yeah.
I know she's off doing family things, but eventually she'll be back. I don't think she's totally done. She might be. I mean, she has some harsh words for it, but she also knows she can make it pop. But yes, when
Becky
returns, the crowd is going to go wild. And here's another issue that I was thinking of, in this match, another variant. What happens if Asuka was to take the title? And then we have a returning Becky come back. And then we got to remember, she was the one that gave Asuka the title.
That
and
writes
handed it to her.
itself, too. Oh, yeah.
And, talk about long-term storytelling, she could be wanting her title back now and challenge her for the title. So there is that route as well that could be played out on this. So, I mean, there's many matches in different ways that this could go. I mean, I'm not a WWE story writer. If I was, I would... Who knows what I would do? I mean, everybody thinks they can do a better job. But I'm interested to see where this match goes because it is up in air.
Honestly, after talking about it, I'm excited for it.
Yeah, it is. I think it's going to be one of the better matches of the night. Speaking of better matches, what else we got on this card?
Here it is, the name. The Dirty Dogs, Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode versus Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships.
Well, I'm going to tell you one thing. He's not here right now, but Disabled loves the Dirty Dogs. They're practically family. Practically. But anyways, this is a fun match. I like that tag team. I like that they're using Rude.
I can see...
you got the father and son duo, too, though.
That was... yeah, I can see Ray and Dominic winning. Then you know how those tag teams go. They'll have their tag team run for a couple months. Maybe they set up a father versus son feud.
They could. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, how many more years I'll be getting out of Rey Mysterio? He's up there. He's not a spring chicken anymore. You give him a couple more runs, and I think eventually he's going to retire as his son's really taking the reins. He is starting to come into the role. He's doing more and more. When he first entered, I'll tell you, I wasn't a super fan of him. I thought he was kind of cringe. I thought the whole storyline, I didn't think he sold, his father getting hurt too well. The whole thing just, he was sitting there crying and whatever he was doing, it just was all very cringe for me. As the story progressed and as he got better, I'm starting to respect him more and more.
I feel like he could play the heel role well. Maybe he's the one who writes Ray off WWE TV. He takes the torch. And
I'm thinking maybe they got to do something. Or, I mean, honestly, at this point, they could even bring back an old storyline. They could talk about maybe him saying something about Eddie and being like, Eddie's my real dad and fucking pushing off Ray. Somewhere down the line, if Dominic was to turn heel, I think it would benefit him in ways of, A, breaking out from his father's heritage and past. His father's, I think, has almost always played a face.
Oh, yeah.
And a baby face at that. He's always been the underdog.
Talk about long-term storytelling. This could really be a good feud, Ray versus Dominic, after they lose the tag team titles.
It could. And, Dominic has a different stature than Ray. He's bigger. He doesn't have that lucha kind of flair, but he's more of a powerhouse guy. With the right training and with the right, promos, he could be a monster and really cause damage, to Ray. And I think that would really grab sympathy for Ray, make him a heel, and you could see a really good father-son feud.
For sure, and I don't think a father-son feud has been done in quite some time.
No, I don't think it has. I don't remember seeing, Dusty versus Goldust. We saw brothers wrestle. We've seen other matches, but I don't remember really seeing off the top of my head a father-son match in this decade anyway. Maybe earlier years. Except maybe if you've ever seen Vince versus Shane.
Oh, yes, there's definitely that.
But you're not seeing, You never saw $1 Million Man versing his son. And a lot of the parents that the generation gap isn't there. Either the parent had retired or is just kind of in a mandatory role. We're lucky. Ray is still able to compete at this level. And he's still able to put on a match that's solid. Dominic is just getting into it. So it's a very good time for Dominic. He's getting to learn from his dad, which is awesome. His father's a legend. But he's also getting to, like I said, experience some of that. A lot of the kids that get into it, their parents are already older. They're already retired or they're already just into training. You don't see them actively competing.
Ray's, he's definitely not lost a step. His matches with AJ and Seth in the past year or so have been really good.
They have, and I was a little worried, after that eye for an eye match, that the fans were going to kind of just, turn away from it because it was just whatever. But, I actually watched that pay-per-view again the other day. And, that was actually a really good match.
I liked it.
It was a stipulation you don't see every day. Maybe it was a little far-fetched to take someone's eye, but it's something that you don't see every day. And that's the kind of shit that's going to make... I don't know about everybody, but it's going to make me want to watch more wrestling. If I see matches that I've never seen before, weird stipulations and other shit, that's definitely going to, impact the way I want to watch wrestling. If you're just seeing straight, one-on-one matches for a whole card, there's no fun in that.
Agreed.
No fun at all.
Couldn't have said it better. Want to move on to the next match?
Sure thing.
Damien Priest versus The Miz in a Lumberjack match. I would say they're slowly building up Miz and Morrison to break up. It's bound to happen. I see Priest winning this one.
I'm very sad about this match. I'm actually very, very, very sad. This match should have Bad Bunny in it. I'm a huge Bad Bunny fan.
Yes. We definitely got to go to a show.
I will be doing the best I can to get to our Boston taping of that, even if we got to stand outside, even if we got to put Disabled Wolf on the corner, we will do something to get to that show. I am a Bad Bunny fan. I like his music. I like Latino music. I think it's fun. I like to dance. But also, there's something to me about a fan that is so dedicated to wrestling that not only is, you're bigger than wrestling. He is. He's got millions of followers. His tickets prices for the shows are costing more than WrestleMania. That makes you bigger than WrestleMania at this point. He's world-renowned, a lot of awards. Great, great, great singer. But you got all that, and he was so dedicated to wrestling that he trained harder than some people do that do it for a full-time job. Just so he could do the spots right. And he did some great spots, that jump and a few other ones. And he really, proved his worth in WWE. I can't say that for a lot of celebrity wrestlers that came in. Gronk was worthless in the year before. He came in, he won the 24/7 title, he lost it or whatever he did. Gronkomania was a fail. You brought in the boxer Tyson Fury to fight
Braun.
In my opinion, was a fail.
You had Velasquez against Lesnar.
It was cool, but it didn't really deliver the way that it could have. Maybe I think, first of all, about that match, I think if it had happened on American soil, with an American crowd, I think it would have been seen a lot differently. You gotta remember, the UFC fans, they were from the States. Also, he was under contract, Kane, so I think that's why he couldn't fight in the States. Something about that. But, yeah, for the most part, these celebrity grabs are either hit or miss. Everybody was a little wary when he came out singing Booker T. I think the people that didn't understand what Latin music is, reggaeton, or any of that kind of stuff, hated on it, and that's fine. People are going to hate on what they don't know or understand. That is just the nature. But, outside of the music, like I said, if you're not a fan of the music, you got to watch what he did to learn the business, to learn the ropes of it, to, be able to give a good performance at WrestleMania. And he did. He accomplished it. That's probably was one of his things on his bucket list.
I would say when we were at Mania in Tampa, Bad Bunny got the biggest pop of the night, to be honest.
He did. There was no need to pipe in any music, chairs, or anything. Everybody was up for him.
It was a genuine good match, too. Like, I would say that was my favorite match from Mania. Like, when I think of that Mania, I think of Bad Bunny doing that spot on Morrison outside the ring.
And I still think of him at Royal Rumble, too. I think it was a really smart choice. Now, with that being said, that's why I'm sad. Bad Bunny, as you all know, has retired from wrestling. He's going on tour. Maybe he comes back after. Who knows? But back to this. Now, you got Damien Priest. As you know, he was with Bad Bunny for a while. Came from NXT, killed it on there, and kind of moved right up there with Bad Bunny into the main roster and kind of just went in. This was a good fight for him. The Miz can make anybody look good. He won the title to lose the title to make people look good. So, if Damien Priest wins, it's going to be to look good. I have a feeling you're right. I think somehow Morrison might cause Miz this match. And how Miz has a temper. I think Miz is going to snap on Morrison, and they eventually are going to break up. We are going to see that feud. Both of them are solid individuals. We just don't see enough of Morrison. I believe, in this day and age, he's behind Miz's shadow in WWE. I liked him as, Johnny Mundo. When I saw him, in Lucha Underground, different promotions, he's a totally different wrestler. But when he's under the Miz, he's just shadowed a little bit. So with that being said, if he can break out of that, even put him on separate shows, put one to Raw, put one to SmackDown, you'll see him with the mid-card title in no time.
Agreed. Moving on to the last match, Roman versus Cesaro.
Now, this is a dream match of sorts. Anything with Cesaro has been. I mean, let's face it, Cesaro is one of the greatest wrestlers right now to never win anything.
Yep.
His move sets are from the old days, but mixed with new twists. His swing is amazing. Not many can pull it off. He's a powerhouse. He's got a lot of strength. He's a monster. He can play heel. He can play face. But
I feel Cesaro is really, really going to deliver in this match.
Oh, he's going to deliver. No doubt about it. He delivered in his last match. The thing is he's going up against right now the hottest thing.
The final boss.
The final boss, really, in professional wrestling right now that you got. You got Roman Reigns, If this was 3 or 4 years ago, people were booing this guy. They were walking out his match. What a turnaround. This is sometimes what the difference between, being the good guy and the bad guy can do for your character. It's a perfect example. Him turning bad has really opened up the gates for him in his promo work. He's not stuck and tied to the Shield anymore, playing a fake superhero. He's now, the head of the table. He can play into that dynasty that has been such a part of the WWE, starting from Alpha and Seeker and the Wild Samoans all the way to Yokozuna, The Rock, the Usos, Roman Reigns.
This is definitely WWE's megastar, and with the music that he has right now, he's not losing anytime soon.
Right now, Roman Reigns is the face of this company. It is what it is. He was supposed to be that way a couple years ago. The fans weren't behind it. The fans are behind it now. I think regardless of him being a bad guy, I think people still like him. If they chance he sucks, at least now they're doing it for the right reasons.
Oh yes, we heard that at Tampa.
We did. And but it was for the right reasons. It wasn't like the old days, There wasn't anybody leaving like they did in other years. So, Roman has come a long way in my opinion, and he's really honestly one of my favorite stars to watch. I love him bringing in that old flair of the Samoan dynasty. I grew up watching a lot of the wrestlers. He definitely has that style for it. We're gonna see. We have the chance to maybe see him versus The Rock. Disabled Wolf talks about it all the time with me. Almost every chance he gets, he tells me that I think that we're gonna get The Rock versus, Roman Reigns in either Dallas or in LA.
I agree with him. The story writes itself, and Roman is pretty much the Thanos of WWE now. He's just going to keep just plowing through everyone. Cesaro, if he fights Seth, he's going to beat Seth.
He needs to beat Seth. The only thing with Seth is that I don't want to see, if we see him versus Seth, I want to see heel versus heel. I do not want to see Seth turn back to his old ways. He's another one that's really taken off since turning bad. So they need to do a heel versus heel match. And they could even fight over who was the better Shield member. Who knows what they're going to fight over. But yes, that feud needs to happen. I mean, there's another feud that needs to happen, if it can. And we need to see the steamrolling of Brock Lesnar. He needs to climb right over him. And honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing at this point Roman, taking out Cena.
Cena will put him over, no question.
I know Cena's been the scapegoat for the last few years, whether it be The Fiend, The Undertaker. He's taken the L's pretty hard at Manias. But, at the end of the day, I think him losing to Roman will really solidify Roman's heel run work and what he can do in the ring, and it will crush, the people that are Senior Nation. It will crush them. The same way, when I was growing up, I remember Survivor Series 91 there. Undertaker got a title shot against Hulk Hogan, and nobody thought it was going to happen. And Flair comes in to the match and puts a steel chair and helps Undertaker win. And Undertaker won the title that night.
Oh, boy.
There was fans, there was kids, there was adults in the crowd crying tears. People were upset Hulkamania was dead. Of course, they would give it to him like a week later back at, a Thursday in Texas. But that's the kind of thing, people were crying over it. Literally crying over this. So
I take it kids back then were terrified of The Undertaker.
When Undertaker first came into the WWE, he was very terrifying. He had Paul Bearer, which was, scary enough. But he had this bright red hair. He had this stone cold dead face. And he used to put his opponents inside a body bag after he finished beating them.
Yikes, I'm not sure if I'll get any sleep tonight.
Exactly. The Undertaker and Paul Bearer in the corner and just dragging people in body bags back in the day was enough to keep any fan awake, And again, being a kid at that time, definitely. But, Roman Reigns, I think Roman is going to take this title, to go back. He's going to beat these guys. He needs to beat Cena. He needs to go back and beat,
Lesnar.
All the big guys. If he beats Cena and ends Cena Nation once and for all, that's where I was going with the whole Hogan thing, If he can do that, that will solidify him as being the heel.
It fits into the storyline, too. I believe when Roman said, after he beat Bryan, I'm pushing us forward. I'm moving us into the future. So what better way to really showcase that if he takes out Cena, Lesnar, Rock?
Exactly. I mean, these are all the past stars that have made WWE in the last years. This was their test run year, in my opinion, where they started to do a Mania without all these major stars. I think it went okay. but you have to push the future, too, at the same time. That's what they're doing with Roman Reigns. And I think he is going to be the future for a little bit.
I would say whoever beats Roman for the strap will be the next face of the company, in my opinion.
Yes, and I don't know who that's going to be. I don't know if that's going to be somebody that's there right now, or if it's going to be somebody that's going to be moving on up or coming out or whatever, where they're coming from. I just don't know. I mean, I can't list anybody in the roster right now that I could say, hey, should be the next face of the company. They've all either had their chance or blown their chance. But, there was a shitload of recruits. There's a shitload of people in the training facility now. NXT, 205 Live. There's a lot of people that might be moving up. Maybe they get a chance. Maybe we do see the future, I don't know. Right now, Roman is the top of the world, though. I think he's going to stay there. He's definitely going to, take out Cesaro, continue his legacy, and continue going forward. He's another one that could be destined for a collision course with Brock Lesnar, which would be another milestone takeover if he was to beat him.
And it just goes to show these matches can be very hyped up if the roles are switched.
Easily, you can get a match be a dud and then switch the roles of the two wrestlers and have it be a 5-star match. It's all about how that chemistry is, how it works, the story, and how it was told. And, some characters are just made to play the role better in the opposite direction. And you kind of got to just let them be their own free men and set them off where they need to be.
I'm thinking we can really get people in the comment section really engaged in a discussion. They could leave comments asking, hey, who do you think's going to take the strap from Roman?
I would love to have, people just, answer that question for me in the comments section, wherever you see this, whether you see it on Twitter, YouTube, I would like to know, who do you think is going to be the next face after Roman to win, and become the champion and take the company? I really like to know. You think it's going to be, a new recruiter? You think it's someone that's sitting there now just waiting for their time?
Me personally, I think it's a new recruit. A couple of my friends think it's Matt Riddle.
Could be. Matt Riddle's, a very, very good choice for that. You got NXT people. You got people like Parker Boudreaux in the training center that looks like Brock Lesnar. You got people trained like that. You got veterans.
I'm thinking, too, maybe it could be The Fiend. They never really did like a one-on-one face Fiend versus heel Roman feud.
Nope, and The Fiend could come back stronger than ever. Who knows? And he's never counted out. Like I said, you also got some veterans, that have been, veterans in the game, but they're new to WWE. You got, August Gray and someone like that. Years down the line, these people could be easily in contingency for that title. I don't think Roman's going to lose it anytime soon. I think he's going to have a lengthy run. Lesnar had a lengthy run. I think they're going to give it to him for a lengthy.
CM Punk did.
They all had lengthy runs.
Yeah.
And I think Roman is going to have another lengthy run. I mean, he kind of had to relinquish it for personal reasons. So it's not like he lost it to lose it. And I think they're kind of making up for lost time. We might have already seen the new face of the company. If he didn't get sick and there was no pandemic, everything might have happened sooner.
True.
But now, they're going in order. And, WWE does a really good job at adapting sometimes. I know people give them shit. They can move things on the fly without us even knowing it, watching it. They've changed main events. They've changed pay-per-views. They've changed matches. Just, to make it make sense for a different ending without even telling anybody. They are really good at moving on the fly. But I'm actually really excited for this Monday Night Show. I'm really, I have to say it. At first, coming into this, I wasn't too keen on this pay-per-view as it's not a major pay-per-view. It's kind of just a filler. But as we went through the card and really talked about the possibilities and where the storytelling can come from and where it can go, I'm actually really excited for this pay-per-view.
Same here. We got the possible return of Becky Lynch. We talked out how Roman's going to play out the rest of the year. Even that very personal Rey and Dominic feud that could unfold.
Really, I mean, yes. And it's all possible. I mean, we might see new champions. Who knows? We might, well, like we said, you might Lashley might retain. You got a bunch of different things ways of these matches can go. So, really, we got to just kind of sit and watch. It's cool now. It's on Peacock. I did hear, that they're doing a promotion. I mean, me personally, my fiance has Comcast. So, I don't know if you guys know this, but if you have Comcast, you get free premium Peacock. So, she doesn't watch Peacock. She doesn't watch wrestling too much. So, she let me have her subscription. Otherwise, guess what? It's only, I think, $5 a month with the ads, $10 without. Right now, they're doing a special. You can sign up for 1 month for 99 cents. That's right. For 99 cents, you can watch a pay-per-view. You're not going to get that deal anywhere else. That's cheap. I can't even buy a soda to drink to watch the match for 99 cents.
I'm sold on Comcast now. I have RCN. I'm going to have to make the switch.
I mean, like I said, if she didn't have it, I would have went back to cable for that. But she said I could have a subscription. I log into the Peacock app on my Xbox, and I can watch all the wrestling and TV shows and everything else that I want to watch. It is great. It was a big power move for them to move the network. Yeah, it was a little chaotic at first. Yes, they removed some content that is questionable. Probably should have been moved in the beginning. Maybe shouldn't even have been put up. But I think it's really falling into place. It's bringing in fans that, might not really know what wrestling is or watch wrestling recently. But if they see it on Peacock for free, they're going to go over, check it out when they're, bored. And they might say, oh, shoot, this is pretty good. I want to watch the next pay-per-view. You don't know. That's how it happens,
Plus, we got that WrestleMania name embedded into the pay-per-view name.
You do, which, makes it bigger than just a regular Backlash. It makes it WrestleMania Backlash. And that's a big selling point, I think, for this pay-per-view. I kind of wish that they did it last year with Payback. It should have been SummerSlam Payback. Because it literally happened soon right after. And Roman took the belt back. Maybe that's what we see in Backlash. It's the backlash of WrestleMania. What happens after? Maybe they are getting better at their storytelling. It's hard for such a big company with all of these wrestlers and all this to keep storylines going and keep everybody happy. It's impossible to make everybody happy. Very impossible, actually. So you kind of just got to take everything with a grain of salt. And that's what we do here at the VSW. We look at it with fresh eyes and a positive mindset. There's no need to be negative, especially when it's about something that we all love. That is the one common goal we all have, people. We are wrestling fans. We love wrestling. So, with that being said, I'm going to leave you with that note. We are pretty much done. This is it. We will do a recap of this coming live. We got some other news, Sunday. Me and Disabled will be at Beyond Wrestling as it tags up and doing a women's only show. It's going to be great. It's the first time. Later that night, we interview the Prize City OG, Alec Price. You're not going to want to miss that. Monday, we'll be recapping all of the Glory of Beyond and WWE WrestleMania Backlash. And next week, we are lining up more content and interviews as we speak. So just stay tuned to the VSW. Everybody have a good night. Versace Stoner out.